the council, please turn on your microphones. City Clerk, please take the roll.
Mayor,
Here.
Mr. Philip Powell. Ms. Stewart, here. Mr. Cordell. Ms. Bridges. Here. Ms. Elmore, here. Mr. Biles.
Here.
Mr. Jones.
Here.
Mr. Hatton.
Here.
Mr. Florence.
Here.
Mr. Butler.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. City council meetings were prepared last week and passed out, ready for pickup on Thursdays. Everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as read.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any questions on last council minutes? All in favor to pass, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, first on the public comment tonight is Mr. Larry Westmoreland. Mr. Westmoreland, sir, are you here? All right. He was going to speak to us tonight about the, I believe it's an old nursing home on 420 East Academy. The Veterans Land Bank has ownership over that building, and he was going to come speak with the city council about his plan for it. So we'll move forward. Next on the agenda, the 2020 Executive Board report from Ms. Anna McClung.
I'm supposed to stand behind this thing?
Yes, ma'am, please do.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I want to bring to people's attention that the Lonoke 2022 is going to have their quarterly meeting. It's going to be coming up on August 22nd at 6:30 p.m. We're still working on a location for that. And we're very excited. We're going to have a speaker, Lisa Frazier of UAMS, is going to come and discuss with us the Bicycle Hub Community Initiative. And this is something that's being coordinated through the Arkansas Highway Department to establish a statewide bike route. And we're looking to possibly have Lonoke as part of that, so she'll be speaking to us about that. An update in terms of the beautification and recreation team. We've announced the August winners for the Yard of the Month. And we have the winners were Marcia and David Cheney on Mallard Point Cove for the Northwest area. Carolyn and Mike McMullen on Privet Park for the Southwest area. Wayne and Melissa Hamrick at East 8th Street for the Northeast area. And the famous Raymond and Helen Hatton on Vassar Lane for the Southeast area. Also, we had a really great turnout for the July 20th Wampoo Rodeo bicycle ride. We had over 300 cyclists that came through Lonoke, and we had a wonderful refreshment station set up at the Assembly of God parking lot, and the organizers of that group, that event, were very pleased with how Lonoke presented ourselves to the community, and they're looking forward to working with us again next year. I wanted to announce that the Lonoke County Museum is a recent recipient of a grant from the Department of Arkansas Heritage. This is for the 2019 Small Museum Grant, and they've received over $2,400, and those funds are going to be used for improving administration of the office, improving the efficiency of the Genealogy Research Center, and also developing outreach events for the museum. One of those events is going to actually take place on September 28th as part at the same day of the 5K pumpkin run here in Lonoke. And this is going to be a historical walking tour of the buildings in downtown Lonoke. It's going to be approximately an hour long, and it's going to take place on Front and Center Streets. And we're planning to have about 8 different stops where people are going to be dressed in period attire and talk about events that occurred at those historical buildings. Our next beautification team meeting is going to be on August 26th at 5:30 at the Lonoke County Museum. From the downtown support team, they're gonna have a meeting on September 10th. The location is still being worked out, but they'll be discussing, plans for, participating in the Main Street Arkansas program. That they've been in discussions about this for some time, those will be continued. The housing team had planned on having a housing fair later this month, in conjunction with the farmer's market, but they decided to put that on hold for now. And lastly, from the infrastructure team, they're going to have their next meeting, this next month, and they're gonna have Gib Richardson, who's gonna be speaking about conducting energy audits for the city. So that's it from the 2022. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving into administration. First on the agenda is Mr. Jim Kelly, Public Works.
Pretty standard monthly report. 19.3% water loss, which is noticeable. Been busy fixing up the leaks this last month. Probably looking at too much. Nobody has any questions about the report, I'm gonna move on into our purchases. First will be our sewer lagoon diversion curtain. And that is a part of our wastewater treatment plant. Is to make one of our ponds a 3-cell lagoon. Currently it's a 3-cell lagoon, but the curtains during the storm 2 months ago, I think, pulled out the anchors and put them up, and I'm not required to replace them. We had 3 bids on the project, and Crow was the low bid at $76,990.
Mayor, I make a motion, we'll go with Crow Construction.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Go with the Crow Construction for the curtain. Are there any comments or questions?
This will come out of appreciation fund.
If there's no concerns, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Alright, next we have change order number 1, which is for Heller. This is to add a bid item for hauling off their spoil or excavation site. And then he had our engineer had a couple of big quantity changes.
Hey, Jim, can you get a little closer to that microphone, please?
Yeah.
My old ears don't work so well.
Better?
Thank you.
Okay. This change order was for to add a line item to haul off the spoil or excavation from the job sites, and also changes in the big quantities. It's pretty normal little change order.
Make a motion.
Total amount is $9,323.57.
Make a motion that we accept the change order for $9,323.57.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the first change order? All right, if there's no discussion, we'll take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Alright, next will be change order number 4, and this one is for Kraus Construction. The areas here are branches or directly related to the areas they previously worked in, and we're going to require these because of elevation issues with the existing line in comparison to the new line that's been installed. These are just some areas that while we're here we need to get them and get them to the current elevation of where our new sewer line's at. And if you look, we're at Ash Street, Pine Street, Frank T. Button, Palm Street, all the way to the existing project. And it's a total of $377,495.
Was this anticipated, Jim?
Not really, not for this job. We broke all the jobs into phases, and and it would have been under another phase, at a later time, but I think it makes sense right now to have the current contractor who's in that area go on and come back and install these lines. And they were originally a low bidder, so it's not like we're making up numbers or anything, we're going off their original contract price.
So I take a motion to accept change order number 4.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion or questions?
I noticed that it says it will add 120 days to the contract time. Is that the original estimated completion date?
No, that's more of a, for the contractor. Usually there's a buffer in there kind of for the contractor. You have to have a reasonable amount of time to be able to complete the work, and typically they're gonna complete it quicker than, we
An
allow,
estimate.
yeah.
Is this the area where the sewer lines ran across properties?
There are a bunch of those. It's a grid work area. It's all in blocks, and some of those blocks do not even have sewer that accesses them. So while we're there, replacing what's existing, there are a few branches that we're going to build off to access properties. That way, private sewer can get off of somebody else's private property as well.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions?
I have a question. On the tree removal, you've got $2,000 each. Is that kind of a standard price to remove a tree? And does it include the stump?
It should include stump, yes, ma'am. And that's if, when we get there, it's really 100% required, in which we'll have somebody look at the tree to determine if we dig by it, if it's gonna kill it, does it need to go? The mayor has good contact, I'm not sure the gentleman's name. but-
Mr. Perkins, Keith Perkins.
And so we put that in there in case we come across trees that do need to be removed, but we've been trying to avoid removing as many as we can. There's no guarantee we're gonna take out 2 trees right now, but it would involve haul off and stump grinding and everything, or they'll excavate it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, we'll take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Change order number 2, this one is for Diamond Construction. They're the ones that have been working down College Street, and they came from Northeast Front, and this area is gonna affect Northeast Front, Depot, the little surrounding streets right through there, Pierce Street, but the same thing, we're dealing with elevation issues, where we brought the new sewer line in at a higher elevation, and got a better fall on it. Most of the sewer originally was laid flat, but some corrections need to be made to tie all the sewer in together and have a good grade on it, good elevation, good flow. And the cost of this change order is $437,200.
I'll entertain a motion to accept change order number 2.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Is there any concerns or questions? If not, we'll take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Last month, I had proposals for 2 generators that were going to be used at a well site and the water treatment plant, and y'all approved those. But since then, I've gone back and I've spoke to Riggs and Sourcewell, and they do offer installation of those generators as well, covered through Sourcewell, which was formerly NJPA pricing. And so I thought I would bring the quotes back. It's going to simplify the project. Having somebody come in, turnkey, install everything, and but I have 2 quotes here on those 2 generators for a turnkey price. And I didn't total it. package price was $62,031.45. The sales tax at $5,892.99. So this installation, oh, we did cover it, I'm sorry. $67,924.44 for the installation of that.
It's on page 3.
It's highlighted in like gray. I didn't see it first.
67. The installation's 26,000.
That's correct.
Is that a reasonable price for installation?
I sent the source well, and it included the discount, installation discount as well. Everything went through them. After I originally got the price from Reeves, I sent it back to source well, they approved it and said it was accurate.
There'll be an automatic transfer on, be natural gas and,
Not natural gas, it'll be diesel. And the water treatment plant will have a automatic transfer switch. The well site, already has a manual transfer switch on it. Installed that like a year ago. And so we're only going to have to require one transfer switch. This one, the first one is for the water treatment plant.
I'll make a motion that we accept the bid from Source Well for the generator.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Are there any other questions or comments?
Is that with the installation, or does that need to be in a separate motion?
He's asking.
Does that need to be in a separate motion, or is that all together?
All together. Motion's been made and seconded. Are there any questions or comments? If not, we'll take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Jim.
Alright, the second one for the generator is the well station. And it's a full purchase price with installation for $71,525.51. All this is, not bond money, this is a budgeted.
Item. What's that amount? What was that amount?
$71,525.51.
Make a motion, for $71,525.51.
Motion's made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion or comments? If there's not, we'll take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have, unless anybody has any questions.
That's good, that's a lot of money.
It's hard to sit all along.
Next on the agenda is Mr. Jim Ed Ransom for a street report.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Anybody have any questions about our report? Only got one thing on the agenda. We have a ditch bank mower that the hydraulic system went out on it. And it's at, Heritage Ag Route right now. And the estimate to repair is $4,441.55. And I need to get permission to go ahead and get it repaired.
What's the new one cost, Jim?
New ones, we paid, right at $10,000 for that one, 4 years ago. There's a screen inside the hydraulic tank, that somehow, some way come loose. Fines got through the hose, got into the motor, and scarred the motor where it's not sucking anymore. It's not gonna have any suction on hydraulics. So they put a new screen in the tank and replacing the motor and the hydraulic pump.
What's the expected life of that mower?
I don't know, the last one was was considered a long time, so it was very old. It was like a 91 or 92 model that we had, and we just replaced it 4 years ago.
I'll take a motion to entertain the bid.
I move that we accept the bid and authorize the repair of the,
Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Are there any further comments, questions, or concerns? Now we'll take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Jim.
Hey, Jim, what about the, pump he had an issue, that brand new pump Saturday?
Kelly's, he's
Okay.
got the fact that he's got a hold of people that are coming out to look at it.
Okay.
That was his pump that I was borrowing.
Next up is Mr. Chief Randy Mock, Police Department.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Afternoon, sir.
July's activities are on page 1 and 2. If you got any questions, the jail inmate, we brought in $10,320 for the month of July, holding immigration and parole. If you got any questions on page 1 or 2, I'll just get to the list there. I'd like to order, I know the police car, the state bid is $3,161. I know in my memo here, the cost of outfit, and I don't know if you need to do it in 2 separate ones. I guess I need to ask for the car first. Is that right?
What's that?
Do I need to ask for the car first,
For the car?
and then the outfitting, or do you want to do it all at once?
Well, I would think we could do it all at once, can't we?
Just separate
See, we need to separate them?
Yeah, 2 motions.
Well, the first one is gonna be from Red River Dodge for $23,161, which is the, state bid.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to make the purchase of the $23,161 of the 2019 charge.
Thank you. Got a motion's made and seconded. Are there any concerns or questions?
All right, now in this memo, I put down $4,056.
Hold on. All right. Are there any concerns, questions about the cost of the car? All right. Take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Sorry for rushing.
Now we need to do the rest of the outfit.
On this memo, I have $4,056, and that was when we originally had this budgeted, that was the bid at the time. I was displeased with Catholic because they kept the car for like 3 months. So I called another, company, which is Grace Communications, and I think you have the, bid there with you, and that's $3,462.64, which is $600 cheaper than what Catholic gave me, and I'll probably have it in and out in 3 or 4 weeks. So I like the opportunity to use them, if you don't mind.
I make a motion that we use Grace Communications to outfit the vehicle for $3,462.24.
Second.
All right.
is it 64 cents or 20?
I said, yeah, I messed up. $3,462.24.
So I have a motion. Did I hear a second?
24.64.
Motion's
Oh,
made.
I was using it, what he had on the front of his page. 3,460, up to $3,643.
That'll cover it.
All right, I've got a motion and a second. Are there any other questions or concerns? Now I'll take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I got.
Get the,
Detention facility review there.
yeah, just give a quick report on it.
Well, we passed.
Thanks.
So, actually, they came in this, next time around, and it's like, every year, when the state comes in to look at your jail, you know, you'll fix what they wrote you up for the time before, and then when you get that fixed up, you know they're gonna find something else wrong. But, actually, this go around, we did, very well, and, I think there's only a couple of, policies that we need to follow up on, but our jail's up and running and we're good to go.
Thank you, sir. Next on the agenda, Mr. Roy Don Lewis with Parks and Recreation. Mr. Pierce. Thank you, sir.
First up, we have the update on the new concession stand. I believe we have some images right there. So this is the north side of the proposed plan for the new concession stand. Ryan, you wanna help me out with this presentation here?
Sure, yeah. Alderman Cordell and myself, and two other members of the community are part of Roy Don's committee to work with the design team and the department to create this plan. And so we requested these images to update council and the community on where they're at in the design process, which is nearly complete with the design development phase. So I think we intend to meet again in the coming weeks and have them field some questions that the committee has. But this is where they're at so far, and they should be moving on to the construction documents here in the next several weeks after we meet with them, and possibly ready for bid within the next 8 weeks or so.
8 weeks, you say, for bid?
Should be.
Maybe.
I had a question on that center part inside that. Is that just an open area for space? Right, yeah, right there. Yeah, I see the kitchen on one side and bathrooms on the other.
It's the coach's room,
Yeah,
and it's
that'll be a multi-purpose room.
Multi-purpose room.
So we can have registrations, coaches meetings, district, state meetings, place for our umpires to rest. It also has a restroom with a shower in it.
And then behind the toilets there, is that just a long hallway or is that a service?
Chase room.
A what?
Chase room with plumbing and stuff to go down.
Gotcha.
And it's also gonna be where we can store stuff, it's gonna be 5 foot high.
Okay, so there'll be some storage areas there too. That was my other question, was if we had some type of larger pantry area or something. Looks good.
Do you wanna go back to the south side image real quick? So over that awning that you see, we also plan to have, how many solar panels? I think it's 16 solar panels. So that'll cut down our cost on electricity for that area.
Nice.
All right, so we need a motion to pay the first fee of $14,359.99.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made and seconded. Any questions or concerns? If not, I'll take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Alright, and the second order of business I had was, I'd like to ask for your approval for doing some field renovations. We had 2 quotes. One is an Arkansas company, Athletic Field Service Arkansas. They're actually the only company in Arkansas that does this. On the quote, it says a total of $15,900, but that was without taxes. And with taxes, it'll be $17,569.50. And the second quote was a company out of Ozark Ball Fields. Their estimate also did not have taxes included, so with taxes, it would be $22,055.
What's the name of the first one? Jeremy Rice?
It's Athletic Field Service of Arkansas. They're out of Sherwood.
Is that a budgeted item?
We have, yes.
I'll make a motion that we go with Athletic Field Services of Arkansas for $17,569.50.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Any questions or comments? All right, if If there's not, we'll take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
I have one more quick comment on that one. Athletic Field Services Arkansas is doing this, but they're also going to include aeration and top dressing on fields 5 and 8 for free. Field 8 is the proposed new soccer fields, and they want to do this in order to build a relationship with our city to continue to do this in the future.
Thank you, Pierce. All right, next up on the agenda is Mr. Mike Brown, Community Center.
Good evening.
Good evening.
For the month of July, is the hot month. Our membership is up 7% over last month, which was good. Some of the things we had going on for July is we were all month we were playing musical chairs because we had so much going on. We had basketball camp, archery clinic, drama clinic, and some other things, meetings going on. So it was a real busy month. This is, not just standard report. You can see the numbers. Our member of the month was Mr. Matthew Frisbee, and I didn't think adults get happy for getting a little plaque, but he was extremely proud. So to see Matthew had him on the back. Coming in, one big thing, coming in September and October, Baptist Health has agreed to come out and do high blood pressure education. We hadn't nailed down the dates yet, but it'll be free to the public, and it'll be twice a month. We had a clinic on diabetes, which I think we ended up with 30 or 40 folks in that class, and they taught them, how to eat right and, keep within your numbers. And if you hadn't been by the center, we've got a top of the line disc golf course, 9-hole. Brian put a lot of work into it. So get out and come play. If you don't have any, you gotta walk it. It's over a mile.
Wow.
So he's trying to procure me a golf cart so I can. But it's top of the line. And now he wants to do some sand volleyball courts. And I'm trying to put the reins on him, but he's got that planned out. So we'll be looking at that as one of our projects next. Any questions?
I have a question. You barely used any of your equipment money this year? Because,
I think we bought new weight benches, all the weight benches, and bought a bunch of weights.
Yeah, about that arch thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it looked like there was 197,000 still in there.
I'd spend it.
I just wonder what we gonna do about the soccer field.
Soccer, running is soccer this fall is going to be at the baseball field.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Brown, do you have
I've been out of the loop.
Does the community center have anything to do with cheerleading? The little posters I've been seeing up.
No, that's I think that's run by an organization, isn't it?
Yes.
They do football, flag football, tackle football, and cheerleading through. I don't know the name of it, but
Where do they register at?
They come register at the center on Sundays from, I want to say 2 to 5 on Sundays and through the rest of this month.
And it's just only on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. That's all I've got, man.
Thank you, sir. All right, next on the agenda is Chief Wittenberg with the Fire Department.
Good evening. All I have is my monthly report. To the EMS call attendance of 3.55 personnel. Fire top calls, we had 7 of them, on them for 4 hours, and we had an average attendance of 3.86. That's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. All right, next on the agenda is the old business. I'm gonna give you guys an update on the AT&T monopole lease. A few weeks back, the city of Lonoke entered to negotiations with AT&T. They're proposing to bring a 100-foot monopole and place it behind the city museum, which is good. All right, we know we have a lack of capacity and coverage in downtown with AT&T service, and this should fill that void. And so what I'm gonna give the council is a quick rundown on where we are with negotiations. I think we've had 3 or 4 rounds now back and forth, and the contract is at AT&T, waiting on them to sign our last negotiation of terms. So we started out currently with an 87-year term. We've negotiated 25 years instead of 87 years. The initial rent was $700 per month. We're at $1,200 per month. There was 0 inflation included in the contract. We're now at 2.5% per year. There were 0 co-locator fees. Now we're at $1,000 per. Anytime that they choose to put another antenna on that tower, then we'll get $1,000 for that.
Is that a one-time fee? I mean, the $1,000, or is that ongoing revenue?
I'll check and get back to you, Alice. I believe it's a one-time fee. All right, it was a 50 by 50 ask in terms of land space, but we asked them to landscape the buffer, and that's gonna require 60 by 60, so the land mass is just 10 feet by 10 feet bigger than it was. The only thing that, they've also agreed to pay half of our administration fee. So the lawyer that we have working this, the consultant, has got a $5,000 charge, and they agreed to pay half of that right now. The only thing we haven't agreed upon is rights of first refusal language. And if you'll go to the first page of that email that I sent you guys to review, what we did was just present them with an option to pay an additional $150 per month to keep that first right to refusal or deny it. So that's where we're at.
Deal.
Sounds good. And I'll double check that, Miss Alice, and get back to you, okay? Okay. All right, moving to new business. First thing on the agenda is request to approve a resolution 8-1-2019. It's a resolution that certifies endorsement of the Consolidated Incentive Act of 2003 for a company called Kimmel Fast USA. Alderman Jones, sir, I'm gonna allow you to open up.
I just want to say good evening to everyone, and as you all know, most of y'all know me, I'm Elfram Jones. I'm the city alderman for Ward 5. That's where I represent, and that's where Kimmel Fast is looking to do some work in. And it is a project that is going on, and there's 2 men here to answer any questions, anything that you may have. Mr. Stefan Hendricks, which is the Chief Executive Officer of the Kimmel Fast USA and Company, and Dutch King, he's the Project Manager of Arkansas Economic Development Commission. And if one of those guys can just go to the podium, and I would direct y'all to them for any questions that you might have in this particular situation.
And I also would like to introduce my boss, our division director, Whitney Stewart, is also here for our team as well.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Thanks.
But like the mayor said, we're here to seek a local endorsement for our tax back resolution. It's our tax back program. It refunds the sales and use tax for building materials, machinery, and equipment. It's an economic driver that kind of gives incentive for a company to use it in the city, and it's one of our statutory programs. If you have any questions, have an answer.
I have a couple of questions. What does Kimmel Fast do?
We are a chemical anchor producer. We produce chemical anchor as a private label. We produce for companies like Stanley Black & Decker, for example. We have a Walmart leader who produce right now in Germany, and I just found it here on US entity because there's a high demand of epoxies in the USA. Like two component, liquid anchor, I would say, and the cartridge.
And then, I had a couple of questions about the contract, which I'm very much in favor for. I was just curious about this. How long is this tax back program effective? And is there a cap on the amount or of the refunds that they will get back?
Bentley Story, thanks for your time. So, good question. So, length of time, the company has 48 months to incur the expenditures, but it's for this specific project. So, but state law authorizes at least 48 months to incur the expenditures. So, not only would the state refund the local portion, but also the state portion as well, which is a 5.5% of the 6.5% that's charged. And so there is no cap. It's a function of what is paid and what is paid for locally. Now, keep in mind, there's a cap on local taxes of $2,500 across the board, a local cap. So a company is only taxed on the first $2,500 of any single invoice. So it's an even smaller amount, I guess, that would actually be refunded to the company. And these are all future expenditures that will be made. So the way it happens is Department of Finance will just withhold the taxes before they actually remit them back to you. I think on a monthly basis, I believe is what how the process is that. So they won't actually come to the city and ask for money. They'll just withhold the portion that's typically due. So that answer?
Yes,
okay.
yes, thank you.
Recommend put resolution 118 on the floor.
All right, motion's been made and seconded to put resolution 8-1-2019 on the floor.
Resolution 8-1-2019, a resolution of the City of Lonoke, Arkansas, certifying local government endorsement of Kimmel Fast USA, Inc. to participate in the tax-back program as authorized by Section 15-4-2706D of the Consolidated Incentive Act of 2003. Whereas in order to be considered for participation in the tax-back program, the local government must endorse a business to participate in the tax-back program. And whereas the local government must authorize the refund of local sales and use taxes as provided in the Consolidated Incentive Act of 2013, and whereas said endorsement must be made on specific form available from the Arkansas Economic Development Commission, and whereas Kimmel Fast USA, Inc., located at 1 Gunnybo Drive, Lonoke, Arkansas, 72086, has sought to participate in the program and more specifically has requested benefits accruing from expansion of production lines of the specific facility, and whereas Kimmel Fast USA, Inc. has agreed to furnish the local government all necessary information for compliance, now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of Lonoke, Arkansas, that Kimmel Fast USA, Inc. be endorsed by the City of Lonoke, Arkansas for benefits from the sales and use tax refunds as provided by Section 15-4-2706D of the Consolidated Incentive Act of 2003. Number 2, the Department of Finance and Administration is authorized to refund local sales and use taxes to Kimmel Fast USA, Inc. from purchases made for this expansion project. Number 3, this resolution shall take effect immediately.
May I make a motion to accept?
Second. Motion's been made and seconded to accept the first reading. Any questions or comments? All right, if not, we'll take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
All right, next on the new business is an ask for $7,100. We got the Triple C is the complete census count is coming to town. If you guys haven't heard, we've got a census coming down from the U.S. Census Bureau, and teams from Little Rock go out and they ask small towns to put together teams of local individuals, trusted voices in the community, to spread the message and get folks involved so that we can get a higher count. We can get essentially a more robust representation in terms of tax dollars and apportionment. All right, so it's very, very important. I believe it was the University of Washington has placed a value of approximately $3,000 on everybody's participation. So, you know, just by participating in the census next year, and making your voice be heard and getting counted on the census, you're contributing to approximately $3,000 to the local economy here in Lonoke, okay? And to do that, we need some funds to campaign, and so that's what this is an ask for. We've met 3 times. Ms. Val Turner is actually the chair for the CCC. She's not here tonight, but she's been doing a fantastic job. And as you guys see in the budget request, we've got an ask to push out mailers, which is every door direct mailer. It's an EDDM ask of $3,500. That's 3 different card mailers that would go out. So there's cost to print the material and then cost to mail it through the USPS. We want to get a billboard out. Gets the message out to local folks, says, hey, the census is here, get counted. And I didn't say it, but April 1st is Census Day. So April 1st, 2020 is the day that opens, and you get online. This is the first census. The last one was obviously 10 years ago, but this is the first one that they've gone almost full-fledged on the online, and they're asking for, online participation. We're going to set up a booth at the county fair. We're looking to buy an 8x6 foot banner. We need a tablecloth. And we've included approximately $1,500 with miscellaneous fees in there, and that's a total sum of $7,100 that I propose would come out of the general fund contingent account.
Make a motion, we do it.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Are there any questions or comments?
Just a word of thanks to the members of the Complete Count Committee for being diligent. And, it's important work, and it more than pays for itself when we have a successful, accurate census.
Thank you
For
very
all
much.
the volunteers who are serving.
Yeah. Motion's been made and seconded. Any other comments? If not, we'll take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, the next 2 items are, the first one's a report only. It's the local fire retirement actuary fiscal year in 2018. Essentially a report. And on the very first page, there are 1, 2, and 3 bullet points, all of which fall into the yes category, and that's what we want. Most important is the third one is the local plan actuarially sound. And it is. That means we have more money in the fund than required to pay out over the long term. This would essentially be deferred to Philip's wisdom, but he's not here tonight. So if you guys have any questions, I'll be glad to answer what I can. If not, I can get information back to you. Again, it's no action required on it. All right, if there aren't any questions, we'll move on. Next list is we need an approval of the removal of assets on this list. Essentially a motion to approve the list. And we had a broken printer that was removed from the fixed assets list. So I'll take a motion to approve the fixed asset removal list. Motion's been made and seconded. Are there any questions?
How often do we do a purge of the assets? Is that on an individual piece of equipment basis, or do you?
Normally we try to do it once a year.
Okay.
So once a year, she said. Any other questions? All right, take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion passes. Next on the agenda is approval to pay bills.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion. Approve, pay the bill.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Questions? All right, if not, we'll take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right, for the announcements, I just want to say 2 things to the public. First of which is I'm very grateful for everybody at this table, and working diligently and hard behind the scenes often. And I want to rectify a comment that was recently made, and that it was that mayor and aldermen don't work on the weekends, and I want to make sure that that is that's heard loud and clear that we do. We're always on call, and we do encourage you to get in touch with us. And so that was some miscommunication that I take responsibility for. We've sat down, we've corrected it, and so you should always be able to get in touch with us at any point in time, and we will respond as quickly as we can. Secondly, I know that we got hit hard this weekend with 9 inches of rain. It was almost an act of God and the town took a beating, and it's not lost on us. Mr. Jim Ed Ransom was out well past his curfew, pumping as much water as he could to help as many people as possible. I realize that drainage, besides communication, to me, drainage is the number one issue. It's the burning platform in our community, and we need a good plan to fix it. I sat down with this county judge this morning with Mr. Jim Ed Ransom, Judge Irwin, and Mr. Tommy Pack, and we went over some of the issues that lie just outside the city limits. There are some very important challenges to growth in terms of our drainage plan. And there are some things that are outside of our control that we need to work with others and build relationships to fix before we can implement a systemic drainage plan in town. And I want to give big thanks to Entergy. I know it didn't feel like it. The power went out yesterday for seemingly no apparent reason. But there was a fault in between Lonoke and Carlisle, and it took out a remote transfer unit, which typically would be accessible from a control station in Little Rock. And they had to dispatch a member from BB, the closest qualified technician. He drove 30 minutes here and got the power back on before 8 o'clock. And I'm very thankful for Entergy for doing that, for engaging. Immediately, I got on the horn. I was able to call the district rep. She was unfamiliar with what was going on, but she engaged. She was at church, and she was texting me and calling me the entire time. And they were fully engaged to get the power back on as quickly as possible. And so I just want to make that clear as well. All right.
I think Mr. Westmoreland
Yep. I've had some questions from some of my constituents about the radon test and if the health department's planning on doing any subsequent testing of homes or properties.
Yeah, so thank you, Coy. The Department of Health came in, I believe it was a few weeks back now, did some testing throughout the community, strategic testing, placed radon, free radon tests in people's homes. We went door to door. Corey, you were with us. Alderman Florence was with us. Myself, we got out, and I believe that's, and you were with us as well. I believe 4, 8, and 7 were the wards that were impacted.
I wasn't able to go with you.
Okay. You were with us in spirit, though.
On the phone.
On the phone, that's right. All right, so they set out free radon tests. And what they found was that there was no at-large risk, there was no issue. These were 2 isolated events to 2 addresses in town. One was the old annex building at the high school, the one you guys have heard about in the news already. And the other one was a residence just south of the high school. And those are the only 2, what they found was that there was the only 2 homes in Lonoke that had actionable levels of radon. But they do encourage that if you suspect unidentified gases in your house, most likely caused by a leak or a crack in your foundation, high ground saturation, low atmospheric pressure. It's perfect conditions for gas to come through. It's going to find the least path of resistance, and it's going to get trapped in an enclosed space. Radon tests are available at any local hardware store. No Lowe's, Home Depots have them. So you can get them online. They're accessible, and they're not that much, $20, $30, I think. But that was a recommendation that if you have concerns, then buy a radon kit, test your house, and send it off. And you can always contact the Department of Health if you have any other issues as well. Any other questions on that? Thank you. Absolutely. All right. We are at 50 minutes. So I'm going to ask the council. Mr. Larry Westmoreland is here. I'm going to leave it up to the council if we would like to go ahead and open the floor. Are there any issues? Mr. Westmoreland, sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you. My name is Larry Westmoreland, and I have a statement here we own the property. We just donated to us at the 420 Academy. It's the old nursing home. It's been there for years, and what we would like to do.
Sir, if you would, we'll pass these out, and then I'll let you speak at the microphone so everybody can hear you.
My name is Larry Westmoreland. I'm with the Veterans Land Bank, and We're a 501c3, and what we want to do is work with community and other nonprofits to establish a program where we will be able to raise vegetables like greens, turnip greens, and things of that nature, and we would give them free to the citizens in the city. So what we would like to do is get the city to partner with us in the other nonprofits that we come together with, churches, Future Farmers of America, and the farming community, to see if we can make this happen. As far as expenses, what we're looking at is basically cost of seed, water, access to water, tools, and volunteers, gardeners that we think, like the high school kids, might be able to have a strong interest in gardening and learning how to eat nutritious foods. So we also would like to use a piece of property that the city owns. It's at the corner of Ferguson and Pine Street. It's an undeveloped area there. It's a street that hasn't been developed. It's really adjacent to our property, and we would like to include that property, if possible, to also use to raise fruits and vegetables, mostly vegetables.
Only question I have is, that building has asbestos in it, and that's probably why it's still there. What are your plans of cleaning that up?
Well, we're writing grants as we speak to different organizations, letting them know that that entire area will be for gardening purposes. So if not, we'll do like a fundraiser or something of that sort. We also would like to, if we can't get that done, then what we'll probably do is try to develop it into maybe some type of, if possible, apartment complex or something like that, where the cost of the tear down would be included in new construction. And that way we wouldn't have a big problem with that. But we do plan to cut the grass. In about 30 days, sometime we'll be over with. So what we plan to do is, starting around the latter part of September, start to go in there and cut the grass down. And hopefully by December, we'll have it to a level so that next year we'll get a riding lawnmower. We'll have one pledged to us that we will be able to keep it cut.
I think it'd be great if you get funds to raise the building, but it's gonna have to be, done correctly with EPA approval. Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, again, we have not had any estimates on this one.
Gonna be high.
What do you consider high?
Like $300,000.
How much?
About 300,000.
Like $300,000.
That is high. We just acquired this building, so
All right, are there any other comments or questions? All right, Mr. West, I want to thank you. I would say that what we can do is, if we can have a more solid plan, you and I can communicate, and maybe bring a more solid plan in September to sit down, see where those grants are at, where you guys are positioned to move on the building, and maybe bring something a little more actionable that we can talk about and discuss, and hopefully make a decision on. I do want to thank you, and I think what you guys do is fantastic. If you guys don't know, the Veterans Land Bank acquires land, and then they repurpose and reuse it for communities' betterment, particularly specific to engaging veterans.
And also, if anyone knows of someone who lives at home, we received a call today from someone who has a mobile home that's free.
Do what now?
Mobile home.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much. All right, we're at an hour, and we're done with the agenda, so I'll open up the floor to anybody who has a public comment. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Gina Warlock, excuse me, and I'd like to thank the mayor and the city council. I'm speaking on behalf of the hearing impaired. This has been awesome. I can hear everything everybody says, so thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
But I was just wondering if you'd comment about the trees that are being taken down along, Front Street, just what the process is, what's the goal?
Yeah, so the goal was to eliminate the Bradford pears. All right, they're an invasive tree and they're weak. They have a weak wood structure, and every time a storm comes through and blows through, that you know, it requires maintenance on these trees. And in a lot of communities, they've kind of been considered a refuse tree because they cross-pollinate and breed with other local native species, and that's kind of causing an issue in Arkansas's ecology. And so just in terms of maintaining our parks and rec system, we made a decision to cut them down. We got a good price to grind the stumps up, a very good price, and we've already scheduled stump grinder. He'll be in place. Roy Don, can you help me out? 2 weeks?
By September the 2nd, all the stumps should be gone, they're supposed to be gone. There's 37 of them altogether at the city park, 34, 3 on the city park, 34 down the walking trail that will be stumped.
Okay.
Did we plant some oak trees down through there?
Yes, we're gonna get with, the guy you said will go.
Keith Perkins?
Keith Perkins. We're gonna try to get with him today, but we're gonna get with him tomorrow and see what kind he suggests for us to, what kind of oak to suggest to plant down through there. And, cause he had talked to the mayor once before and said we might get, some pretty good sized trees to go down through there. 8 to 10 foot trees.